Yeah, we find her, the beautiful girl we've been missing. We wanna have her kissing. We find her, now we in love. Say Gus up, the remix.
DMB.
The feeling's just a chain reaction. Your heart won't give you the wrong instructions. Like my GPS, yes, I got the right direction. We gotta merge together like a road intersection. Last stop is gonna be my love and affection. I ain't like the mother dudes, they wanna call you shorty, but I'ma call you a beautiful girl. I took your picture home, my mama saw it, she's a very, very beautiful girl. I wanna put you in my video, cause you're so beautiful. You're a beautiful girl. So when you hear us on your radio, turn up your stereo. It's beautiful girl.
Gotta find a shorty. What's worth of a lady? Ain't nice, but maybe doesn't look like 40. It's taking a little time. I wasn't saying no signs. Any traces of my baby? Who's gonna be my baby? But I thought I'm gonna take my time. Within took a long fine eye. I saw a shorty passing by. She's got this very pretty smile. It was right at the pen station. I tried to make a conversation, holding her arms, feeling so charmed. I felt the sensation. It's been a while that I've been trying to find a beautiful girl. And now I realize I found me a beautiful girl. She's a model, she's so fine. I just wanna take it by. Beautiful girl. Sparkling eyes are killing tight. I found me a beautiful girl.
My wish came true when I saw you, girl. God must have blessed me with your beauty, girl. Looking so right from your head to your toe. Shaped like a cocoa bottle with a smile of a queen. My queen to be, you my destiny. Got a body of a goddess with your beauty. I'm impressed and I'm never in distress. Come on over and be mine. Been searching for a man and now all the cats keep looking to mine. With a sexy walk and a sexy talk. She must be from a planet called the sexy world. I know I ain't tripping, better yet I'm thinking put a ring on the finger. We look good together. Take your place in my heart. With your beauty I'ma say that I'll never turn away. Who would think I'm in love?
Such the way she smiles at me just really makes me weak. The way she speaks to me just really make me go so weak. Keep staring in her eyebrows. All I kept on saying is wow. Your beauty shines and breeze at night. All I really want in my life. Oh yeah.
Hot Ice. Have you seen her? LP. Have you seen her? I'ma go over to Tux Bites. I know you've probably seen her. He has a lot of beautiful girls with him. Tux. It's DMV, baby. Look. I look for a while, but I can't seem to find a beautiful girl so I can make her mine. Time after time I've been searching for a while, but every girl I meet never seems worthwhile. What can I do? I pray to God for an answer. I feel pains in my heart like cancer, and when I find her, I'm gonna romance her. Lay several presents and gifts, call me Santa. Claus, I make a heartbeat pause. That's my girl, homeboy, not yours. The girl of my dreams, she's more than I ever thought. Show me ass and culture, I think I'm getting punked. She's what I really want, so I'ma go get her. Since I'm a go getter, you know I'm gon' get her. And I will give her the world, anything for my beautiful girl.
Psych. Ooh, it's been a while that I've been trying to find a beautiful girl. Fine, brown eyes. I found me a beautiful girl. She's my model, she's so fine. I just wanna take it. Beautiful girl. Sparkling night, killing time. I found a beautiful girl.
Girl, it's your love that I've been missing. I miss all your hugs, your touching and kissing. Make love on the floor, the couch in the kitchen. One love enough, we done enough.
Ladies and gentlemen of Prestige, welcome back. If you can hear me loud and clear, please do let me know in the chat. If you can hear me loud and clear, say something in the chat. I'm coming over to the chat right now. How's everyone doing? Daylight. Cold as shit outside. Welcome back. We have an interesting one to cover really quickly. Let me come over to the chat. Let's see what people are talking about. Welcome. I see Lady Navora. I saw this comment a long time ago. How are you doing? Good to see you. I look forward to the appointment we have together. She said, hey, make sure you please hit that like button on your way in. Thank you. Yvette says they are back together reportedly. That is good news, isn't it? That's good news, right? I think he deserved it. Right, but we're about to react to real life videos, and we will be taught we have to extract the lessons, right? Because we don't just come here just for the gist and the gossips and all that kind of stuff. That's not what Night of Prestige is about. It's about the lessons, the relationship lessons and this kind of stuff, right? But welcome. Good to see you, Just Jay. Good day. She says, I wonder if that's Ola rapping. No, I'm the one singing. And that was me singing back somewhere before 2006. It's a long time ago. But no, those are my buddies rapping, not myself. I was the producer. I was one that created the music. If that's what you're wondering. Good to see you, Just Jay. D-Love, welcome. As usual, she's dancing, right? Hit that like button on your way in. Thank you. Mr. Ibu was the first Nollywood movie I watched. Really? That's a whole movie. That's where he got that that name from, right? It's actually a stage name. His name is something Okafor. I forgot. But everyone knows him as Mr. Ibu. Sound is solid. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. So I just found out it's going live. I usually try to avoid her time. But for some reason I missed that today. And that's actually, she's covering a topic that I have to go and watch later. But shout out to you that you're here. My ride or die. It's good to see you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. But we have something very important to cover. We're going to cover this topic. Yes, It's about Mr. Ibu separated up till I guess a few moments ago. You're right. We will talk about this. I'm sharing my screen right now. Let's just get right into it. Well, before we do that, I have to make sure that we let's see here. I have to make sure that we do some house cleaning, right? We have to do some. We have to set some house rules as usual, right? We're here because we talk about everything around relationships, power, seduction, attraction, emotional intelligence, patience, and love. In addition to this story, today I'm going to add two different topics, okay? That's going to be part of our core lessons as we move forward, okay? We're going to talk about the 7 purposes of marriage, okay? I'm not in the business of selling marriage. I don't. I don't. But it almost seems like people are always asking me why. Like either in subliminal ways or they're, because I'm a married man, 15 years, successfully married. So, so I think it's only fair that I put something together. So I put together 7 purposes that if you're going to avoid marriage, you want to make sure that you have a purpose that's bigger than all 7 combined together. If you have a purpose bigger than that, do what you got to do. You ultimately you have to do you, right? Because if I have to force you to do it, it's bad already, right? The other topic we're going to cover today is it's basically relationship poisons. I'm going to give you 10 relationship poisons, particularly that people tend to use when there's a crisis with regards to relationship. We're going to cover that today. Once we're done with this trending Mr. Ibu stories, right? Yup, throwback movie. Him and Osita Iheme are my favorites. All right. Wow, Just Jay, you're on that game, right? That's what's up. I like it. All right, so let's get into this thing. On your way in, hit that like button. Okay, please help me hit that like button. If you're not a part of the Prestige Family Notification Gang, I make sure you get a notification when I come live, okay? And if that link doesn't work from your phone to take you into the group, simply text this line. Send a WhatsApp text to this line and you'll be taken care of, all right? And also, I'm a 4 times author, okay? If you want those books for free, including this one about marriage, which is co-written with my wife, you just go to that link, loveandprestige.com. You have access to everything. Also, I'll be populating that page with some of the merch that we're working on right now, so you can carry prestige everywhere you go, right? All right, awesome. With that being said, let's get into it. So last night, what happened? Last night, yesterday evening, this news started to break out. We're just always sitting on our own, just minding our business. And these people, the internet is a gift that keeps giving. Social media, right? So they decided to drag themselves into the internet. And that's how this came about. And there's some things that I saw and I'm like, this could be anybody. I know it's easy to say that would never be me when you're not in that situation, right? But the truth is that it can be anybody. If you don't know who Mr. Ibu is, this is this guy right here, okay? The person that's crying is the wife, second wife, okay? Second wife, all right? And then the person next to him right now is essentially the that's the quote unquote adopted daughter, right? That's what he claimed last night, okay? And the wife is crying because she's claiming that he's not taking care of the family, blah blah blah. I'm gonna let you hear from the horse's mouth, okay? How about that? Right. So with that being said, I'm just gonna go ahead and it's true. This is what I just saw. Let me find it really quickly. All right, this video is what we just saw. All right, let me just share my screen really quickly. All right, so this video is what you just saw on the internet, on social media in the last few minutes before we started. And this is why I guess Yvette is saying they're back together. I'm gonna play it. I'm listening to it for the first time with you. So let's see what they're saying, Abby.
You and I'm gone. So I'm gonna love you now, like it's all I.
All right, so I don't know what that music is, so I'm gonna mute that. So it looks like, I mean, where is the timestamp on this, right? We don't know when this was happened, right? But I guess these days people have an inclination to believe Gist Lover. You know, some few days ago, people were saying Gist Lover, is she always telling the truth? No, it's a media platform. Their job is to get the most clout. Okay, so there will be a lot of sensationalized news report and things like that, and they will do that within the, I guess, they will push the edge. They will push the limitations all the time. So the people that believe them. I don't believe them by default. I don't believe any blog by default. Okay, so but I can believe the picture that I'm looking at. I can believe the video that I'm looking at. What do I believe about this video? Sometimes within the last 1 second into the past, they had this moment. Here's the key thing I want you to pay attention to here. Every marriage, no matter how much picture, how bad the picture someone is going to paint, like it was just a terrible situation, they've had moments like this. That's the lesson in this. They've had moments like this. And that moment could be in the last 1 second, and it could be in the last 10 years, or it could be further into the past, right? You don't know what you don't know. The only thing you know is the story they're telling you in that moment in time, and you want to take that with a grain of salt, right? Hey, you feel like this is a terrible marriage in this moment, right? Hey, right now, as you're talking to me, you feel like that was a complete, terrible, bad idea to, like you regret the day you met that person, right? But you take that with a grain of salt because that same person that's telling you that story had moments like this with their husband, with their wife. But what do we often do? We engage their story from a place of we can relate with them and we believe it. We just believe 100% like it must be that it was just completely toxic. The only thing we can get out of this video is that for the most part, people have good times in their marriage, but the negative moments tend to overwhelm them and it tends to become the story that you hear later. Okay? That goes for people that say, oh yeah, right? They act like everything. The truth is that people be having good times in their situation. At the very minimum, you should assume that they engaged that romantic relationship because they were feeling good about it at some point in time. So you should be quick to say, so what happened? How did they get? If they're busy, if they're not painting this picture, what picture are we talking about right now, right? Let me just go straight into this page, okay? Let's see where they're coming from, right? Shall we? Let's see where they're coming from. Since they want to paint a picture like, because in the last few hours, up to the last few hours ago, it looked like everything was just bad. It was just terrible, right? I still think it's still bad. Okay, it's still very, very bad. All right, I'm being honest with you. All right, there's no, oh, it was just bad in the last few hours and suddenly we fix it and we're filming ourselves, right? When people are filming themselves, what do you think they're doing? They're putting up their best, they're putting up the front, okay? They're on their best behavior when they're filming themselves. If they know they are being filmed, they're on their best behavior. What happened when Mr. Ibu did not know that it was being filmed? D-Love says, was it just not yesterday they dragged us into their marital issue? Thank you, D-Love, right? This is why you don't get involved in people's marriages, because when they make up, you chop the breakfast. You'll be the one collecting, right? Exactly. Yep. So they're not going to stop us from extracting the lessons, because there's a lot to talk about here. And, as always, I'm always speaking from what I'm looking at. Okay. And I assume that I don't know. I don't know the real deal of what's going on, right? You can see a bunch of screenshots. What happened since yesterday? Let's see if we can find it. Where is it? All right. This is what happened.
I get angry with you. You hear me? Huh? Tell me what I want to hear right now. Say there. Are you mad? Stay there now. You go me here, mama.
I get
You make me
BP.
here, Nama.
I get BP.
You make me here, Nama. You make me think I'm lady. And no matter what talk to me now. Talk to me right now. Now. Talk to me now. Show me again.
Who is Choma now?
You hear that? Maybe one of them who is Choma. You hear that? Begging. You know who is Choma. Me and make it bad. Me and make it here. Now you have to be. You got out. No problem. Talk to me now. Talk to me. Talk to me now. Talk to me now. Give us a English. Who are you? Do you hear me?
All right. So I don't understand Igbo language too. I don't know what they're talking about, and I'm guessing Chinye is not here to help us, and anybody that can help us. But we can see body language. Body language is universal, right? You can see that he clearly, even if he knew it was being filmed, he was caught up in his emotions, and there's no way he's trying to put up his best behavior right now because he's clearly pissed off, right? Clearly, this is what happened 22 hours ago. I mean, this is what we were exposed to 22 hours ago, right? What did Gist Lover say here? He said, Otife gets started. You see the level some girls go just to get fame. He go shock you. You're having sex with a person, and you they call him your papa, you call him your father. Jasmine, come here. Okay, so who's Jasmine, right? Jasmine is the same person that they call Mr. Ibu's daughter, right? Heaven and earth will be against you from this very moment. I say it's about to get started. Mr. Ibu has loss of memory, right? Does this look like somebody who has loss of memory? Maybe, but it's clearly acting out of character, right? Out of character, it can be any one of us. If you're upset, obviously you're not capable of putting your best foot forward in that moment, right? We can all be upset, right? Also, if you suddenly catch wisdom that you're being filmed and you're a superstar, he's a rock star, by the way, and you can end up on the internet, you probably can calm down, but the anger will be your mate, right? It depends on how angry you are. Like right now, it looks like you can see clearly there's a camera in his face, but he's probably not thinking like she's crazy enough to put this out on the internet. Let's keep going. He says took his Instagram password. So the Gist Lover and the wife is accusing this particular girl of taking Mr. Ibu's passwords and taking advantage of his superstardom to make money on the internet. And this is where all this started yesterday. All right.
Children, they suffer. No, my children, they suffer. This man gets to kill me. This man gets to kill me. Every time, that time he's okay. He don't know what I'm suffering. He don't know how I'm suffering. The man came prepared to come and beat me, to come and kill me.
To come and beat me, to come and do what?
From his girlfriend's house to come and beat me, to come and kill me. He removed his wristwatch to come and beat me. Now run, I push him out.
All right, so she's clearly very, very upset, right? You can see she's very upset, right? But she also has a camera in her face. Always ask what's the motive, right? You don't have to ask the person directly because it depends on if you're asking them directly, they will feel judged, right? We're going to talk about that when we get into the tools or relationship poisons, right? We're going to get into that. But if you're talking to this person and you're in a position to advise them, obviously you don't want to be like, what's your motive? Why are you filming? But if you were assessing this and you're thinking about it, what is going on with this person, right? Think about it, right? Why are they filming themselves? She's filming herself and she's crying, right? The first reason that, depending if you can relate with her pain, the first reason that will come to you is that, yes, she need to film it. All these men, they are terrible. It's evidence. She needs to document as much evidence as she can against him, right? Right. Sounds good, right? I can understand why you feel that way. I get it, right? It's because it's now becoming a personal. You can relate with her, or at least maybe you're an empath, right? And you tend to engage somebody's you tend to engage their emotions before hearing the facts of the matter, right? But if you just pause for a second and say, hey, Why is she filming herself against her husband and crying, right? It could be many, many reasons. It could be because, yes, maybe her life is truly in danger, right? But the person she's accusing is standing right there and not, she's able to stand right there and not, like, it doesn't look like she's in harm's way. If you remove the crying for a second, right? Okay. A person can cry like this if they are emotionally being tortured, yes. Okay, they can cry like that. But the point I'm making is that ask further questions. Don't be quick to assume you know what's going on with that person. Why are you crying? Okay, he wants to beat you or kill. Okay, typically, if somebody is trying to harm you from a physical standpoint, what you would be doing, depending on how bad it is you'll be running away from them. You won't sit down next to them and be filming them and yourself with you crying, right? Just maybe not. The point is that there's more questions. So why not run away? If this guy is trying to beat you and to harm you, why would you sit down there and be filming them, right? It's just a question. It doesn't mean we're judging her, right? By the way, you can't. It depends. If you're asking a person that's not asking you, that's not soliciting for advice from you, you will collect. So, but in yourself, when you are seeing this type of thing on social media, ask yourself, just further. Don't be so quick to conclude that you know what's going on, and you will be quick to conclude if you can relate with whatever story she's telling. Okay, so I'm just saying. Okay, so
his girlfriend's house to come and beat me, to come and kill me, remove his.
So that's what you see going on there. Let me see what you all are talking about. The shirt though. You talk about the shirt. That's Mr. Ibu for you, man. Now the other thing we know is that we could say that Mr. Ibu in this picture, right? Why is he so upset? Could it be just a scene in the movie? It's a comedian. It typically doesn't act this type of stuff in a movie, okay? Unless it's a joke or something like that. But no, this is clearly him being serious. And that was the wife saying, who is Chioma? Who is Jasmine, right? We haven't talked about who is Jasmine, right? Let me finish telling you let's see. Okay. So clearly there's this property with water in it. I don't know what they're saying. Look, there's some damages to the property. Guy abandoned his property and moved on. Now let me move on to here. This is a picture of the wife that was just crying. Okay. And their children together. Okay. Now, the truth is that he has, according to the video that I watched on Daddy Free's platform, he has 14 children altogether. Okay? And look at this guy. Does he look like someone that will have little babies like this? Now, this guy is at least 60 years old, potentially closing in on his 70s, right? There's no way that his oldest daughter is 10 years old. Unless it can happen, but yeah. He has 14 children. He had a marriage before. As a matter of fact, according to the first two children, because they were on a video with Daddy Freeze yesterday, she got pregnant for him while he was still married to another person, allegedly, right? All of that is not really relevant to the lessons we're trying to extract today. I'm just saying, right? Now, this is a text message between Gislover and the wife. But I'm looking for this video. Let's play this video. All right, so let me go back a little bit. This girl in blue is the Jasmine girl. Mr. Ibu and his first two sons claims that, yes, she's adopted. She's not biological, but she's adopted by the father, right? They came out so quick to come and debunk the wife's story because the wife is saying that he hasn't been taken care of.
My children, they suffer.
She's saying they're suffering. She's claiming that he hasn't been taking care of them. The story, according to Mr. Ibu, is that it's arguments all the time, and he had to leave the house because his high blood his blood pressure goes up when they get into this argument. He left the house and went over to his adopted daughter's house. She's claiming that she's a side chick. All right. The wife is claiming that that's a side chick. Gist Lover and the wife, obviously being sourced by the wife, that she's a side chick, that this chick is a side chick. All right. That's what's going on here. Okay. This is Jasmine right here, Chioma Jasmine. She did up to recently had a different last name, but she's been calling herself Okafor. That's her. Seems like a girl that had a whole life. Is it possible? The accusation is that she's just chasing clout with this guy's brand. Okay. All right. It doesn't matter. Listen, the details of it doesn't matter when it comes to what we're trying to do here on Men of Prestige. Okay. The details, is it true? Is she actually adopted? It doesn't matter. Okay. But let me see what you all are talking about before we continue, because there's more to this. Hit that like button. Hit that like button. Thank you so much. Hit that like button. Let me just welcome. Hit that like button. All right. So it says, let's see. Let me see what you all are talking about. My life is in danger. I'm gone. Exactly. If truthfully your life is in danger, you should be gone, right? If you're sitting down there and you're filming it and you're saying your life is in danger, there's a chance that you're a toxic person. Okay? Listen to what I'm saying. There's a very good chance, not just a chance, there's a very good chance that you're a toxic person, either man or woman. Men are starting to film their situation, claiming that they need evidence against their own, right? There's a good chance that you're a toxic person. There's a good chance. Being a toxic person doesn't mean you can't be a victim. You can be two things can be true at the same time. You can be a victim and be toxic at the same time. That means you're attracting toxin. Okay, there's something about you that you are addicted to the toxin that you're attracting. We're talking emotional matters, right? So you can't, if you're thinking of it as purely like some kind of dramatically discrete stuff, like, no, that's not true. Well, if you're thinking that way, I agree with you. But I'm saying, if you think about it on an emotional level, there's a good chance that you're not able to push out or to reject toxin until later on when you're feeling the hurt, right? Until you've calmed down later on, you're like, why did I engage in that argument yesterday? Why? I could have left. I should have known that this wasn't the argument I should be engaged in, right? Why didn't you know? Well, because sometimes we can be addicted to the toxic situation that we are resenting, okay? There's a lot of speculation. It's always good to hear both sides. Yes. You know, I try my best not to speak on people's household because you never know what goes on under people's roof. Exactly. By the time I hear both sides, I'm like, oh my God, I don't care. Just go get help. Exactly. Right? You're like, what? All right. You guys need to go seek help. Hold on now. The daughter is a side chick. That's what obviously the wife is claiming. Now, part of the story that was broken yesterday, let me see if I can get to it really quickly. Let's go to, let's see. Saved. All right. Let's go to this page. All right. So let me pull some of this up. Right, so this was the live session yesterday with the daughter, quote unquote, side chick.
Yeah, Mr. Ibu first son. Yeah.
Biology, as they add biology, I bet they add title. This one are biology.
That's the side chick / daughter.
This woman I'm talking
allegedly.
About, you know her from anywhere.
Well, okay. That woman we are talking about is my stepmother.
No, this particular woman here, the one that is here with me in this live, next to you.
Yeah, I know her. She's my stepsister.
Wait.
Yeah, she's my stepsister.
Okay.
What is stepsister?
How long have you known her, your sister, for?
Well, I've known her for many years now. She's my stepsister. Even before I traveled to South Africa, even before I traveled to UK, she's my sister.
I think She might be a side
I
chick.
just want to say something before I go offline because I came to get some fuel in the petrol station. You can see.
Yeah.
Daddy Freeze, there. Make I use this broken in a way we say you go dey okay. Daddy Freeze, a good woman, they build in family.
So it's safe to say that the two first sons, this is the first son of Mr. Ibu, for calling him from South Africa to Daddy Free Show. It's safe to say that the two sons clearly, at least at this moment, they don't like their stepmother. What is a stepsister? A stepsister is a person who is a sister by way of marriage, right? A half sister is a person who is a sister that you're connected biologically by one parent. Am I correct? Now, is a lot of people do misuse Nigerians will interchange step for half, not unknowingly, okay? But okay, stepsister, maybe that's what he's trying to do. So let me give him a pass on that. All right, it's just all right. We don't know the truth, okay? But this is ugly. Social media is not a space, especially if you have not assessed things very well. It's not a space that you come and tell your family trouble, okay? Let me play this other one real quick.
School fees, knowing quite well
that's the second son.
Work any longer. But whenever she complains, that the same person, that the same girl that she's saying now that is not her daughter, will be the one that will send her money.
All right, so what is he talking about? So Jasmine Chioman, aka side chick / stepdaughter / my daughter or / stepsister, she's acting more. It looks like she's acting like an assistant to Mr. Ibu. Mr. Ibu is an elderly, considered elderly, that may not necessarily know how to operate the social media stuff. So anytime he has to send money to the wife, the wife who is complaining right now, usually Jasmine will be the one to send it, right? On the name in the name of Mr. Ibu, the father, right? So she's always accepted that this is my stepdaughter, right? But suddenly, because Mr. Ibu left the house, apparently looks like it's some weeks ago, and started staying with quote unquote daughter / side chick, she's now started to feel insecure. And then she came out 24 hours ago and said, hey, not lie. It is a lie. She's a stepdaughter. No, she's a girlfriend. She's a side chick. All right. There's some element of truth there. It sounds like she's not sure, right? What do you mean? But because again, he claimed, Mr. Ibu, and the second son said she's adopted. At what point was she adopted? After she became an adult or when she was a child? How long have you known him? I've known him all my life, but never mind that. Okay, it's safe to say that the not original, but the first children, the older children of Mr. Ibu, they don't like the present wife. Okay, so what should you take out of their story? How should you take their story? With a pinch of salt. Okay, it doesn't matter. What is going on here is family feud that's been dragged into social media. Who should be held accountable? Who should be held responsible for this? That's the question. Okay, so now they're showing screenshot of money being sent to the wife. It's like before, of course you can send money to your wife. This doesn't tell us anything. The only thing it tells us is that you were once upon a time in a good space where you were willing to send money to your family. It doesn't tell us anything. All right, so if we move forward, this is the girl right here.
He knows about this. College president, he knows about it. All his colleagues, most of them know about it. I can keep on calling names. How many times
president is aware.
Daddy Freeze, why is daddy in my house? Daddy is in my house in Lekki. Why? Ask me why is daddy, a married man with 14 children, sleeping in my house? Feeding.
That's the question the wife was trying to ask you.
He left her house and went to Abuja. I'm calling on Fred. Daddy went to her house and went to...
So I'm not too concerned about the details of what she's sharing because we're not here to judge her or judge Mr. Ibu or anything like that. We're just here to extract our own lessons out of it, right? The details doesn't matter because we don't know the truth, right? we know that the wife obviously is not feeling satisfied. She's angry, was angry based on the fake news we just saw, right? Was angry, right, at Mr. Ibu. He left the house. He was separated. That's what they call separation. And he went over to side chick slash daughter slash steps daughter slash stepsister's house, right? The wife does not trust this girl. Listen, she could have been a biological daughter. She still can't trust her because she's in a position where she's saying, my husband is not taking care of me because of my stepdaughter. Do we not see that kind of situation all the time? Exactly. This is relationships at its best. When people lose their cool and they lose their centeredness, this is how they act. You can see clearly that the stepdaughter slash side chick is also very angry, right? Gomez says parents can never be their daughters, sons, including adopted children, girlfriend, boyfriend in a romantic setting. Their role is to parent the child, and I don't think that's relevant. We just don't know what's going on there. I'm not sure. I guess you can use friend here, but not taking on the role of replacing space meant for. Yeah, we don't know. I don't think the titles matter. I think what matters in the lesson we're trying to extract here is, again, social media is not your friend. Okay. The other side of the second lesson here is that don't be reactive. See, what's happening here is that the wife thought social media was her friend. Okay, she ran to Gist Lover to share news, right? And Gist Lover is, this is food for their platform, right? And of course, Gist Lover is people, because Gist Lover, the way they narrate the story, they take it personally. That person start cursing out whatever side they decide to take, right? Whoever is behind Gist Lover, right? And makes it more believable. Like it looks like when you're on the fence, it's not as it's not as entertaining, right? But when you take side and you start cursing that person out and you start saying things like, your life will end today. Chioma, come over here. Jasmine, you, these girls. When they start doing that, it's more relatable and it's more entertaining, right? So that's what Gist Lover does. So Gist Lover, because it seems like it's taking your side, the same lesson goes to Alima. It's not necessarily your friend, nor is it your enemy. Okay? It's a media platform. They do what they do. It's kind of like tabloids, if you understand what I mean by that, right? But the wife thought social media was their friend. I don't have much expectations of that wife, okay? Because you can see how she's crying on the camera, and I don't know what she thought she was trying to accomplish with that, but she's probably trying to be right. She needed some validation or some significance. Whatever it is that she's looking for is toxic. It's toxic, needy behavior, okay? And it doesn't work. So what did Mr. Ibu do? Mr. Ibu decided to take up to go to, and Mr. Ibu and his girlfriend slash, just as titles, again, don't worry about the titles, okay? Girlfriend slash daughter slash stepdaughter, all this stuff, right? It doesn't matter. We don't know. We just know that she's not biological, and it sounds like if it's true that she was adopted, it was done after she became an adult. That's not adoption, okay? Brotherly. Sisterly, there's something else behind that story, but we don't know. It could be somebody that's like a daughter. That's fine. It doesn't matter, okay? But they decided to run to Daddy Freeze. What is Daddy Freeze? Daddy Freeze is a brand, a platform where, again, you might feel heard. You might, let me tell my own side of the story. You have this needy behavior, okay? You run to social media to check. If you do this with your relationship, you will collect. I'm telling you right now, you will collect big time. Okay? None of these people are your friend. They're not your enemy either. I'm not saying they're your enemy. They are creating content, and rightfully so. All right? So let's keep going. Let's see. A support system. I guess you can use friend. Okay, we already talked about. Definitely getting toxic. Being in volatile situation is nothing but stress. Yes, when you are in that situation, when you're caught up in your emotions like that, I've been there too. It's not the easiest thing to let me remember now. It's hard. It's easier said than done. The best thing you can do is you're here right now, you're listening to this, you're aware that you're a human being like the rest of us, and that helps you to remember to calm yourself down if you ever get caught up in this type of situation. The second lesson is don't react. Take some time. Take a day, 2 days, 3 days off. Take your time. Take 30 minutes before you make a decision, right? As long as you need. The heaven is not going to fall out of the skies if you take your time, okay? Heaven, and by the way, there's nothing you're going to say when you come out just 2 hours later when somebody is just dragging you on social media and you're trying to protect your brand or your reputation. If you're a normal person, regular degular person like us, right? You're like, somebody's dragging your name. So naturally you want to I need to defend my name. No, but I don't like that. Nothing you say is going to help you. It might be right? You might just be right? You have that freedom to be right all day long.
You're right.
But you're going to create terrible outcomes, okay? You're going to create terrible outcomes. This is Mosh, the story we covered a few days ago, coming out to say he made a statement. He said, my family is good. My family is not good. We have issues just like any other issues. My children are my biological children. And, family do have issues. If you're a popular person, you can make statements like that. But the idea of buying into strangers to think they're on your side, it's a bad idea. Listen, you're going to have enough people that can relate with your story, that will say, yes, do it. Tell your story. Yes, speak your truth. You're going to feel terrible after, okay? You're going to have hangover off of that toxic material later on. You're still going to need to go back and do the work. What is the work? It's from inside out. There's nothing externally that's going to help your issues. Nothing, okay? So what was happening last night? Gist Lover was all over the place looking for people to do the interview, just kind of like similar to what they did with Alima, so that they can put out the wife's side of the story. Let me tell you something. I keep telling you, it's not two sides to any story. People say there's two sides to story. No, there's not two sides to any story. Okay, there's two sides multiplied by all of the monitoring spirits monitoring it. How many people are following this one single page? Right, this one single Gist Lover page right now. There's 660,000 people following this page. That's 660,000 monitoring spirits minimum. Multiply that by Mr. Ibu's page. Multiply by Jasmine's page. Multiply by, I don't know, how many people do we have here right now? There's that much multiple sides to a story. I don't care what side of the story. Now, why would Gist Lover want to do that? Because it's a media platform. Rightfully, they're supposed to be doing what they're doing. All right? And if they cross the line, they will collect too. Here, what happened to people that cross the line, right? Let me see if I can find this story really quickly. Yesterday, news broke out with Sarah Martin receiving a $500 million lawsuit, something like that, right? Let me see if I can find that really quickly. A $5 million lawsuit from Yul Edochie, right? Let me see here. Let me leave that alone. Let me see if I can find the actual story I'm looking for here from Yul Edochie. Yul Edochie filed a lawsuit against Sarah Martins, who was spreading the news. What did she say? She said it is very inconsiderate. If you cross the line, you will collect, you will get dragged to the courts, right? If you're a media platform, Sarah Martin is not a media platform. That's an individual. You can catch lawsuits too, right? If they cross the line, right? But usually that's not the case. It's a lot of allegedly. They have source that's coming from the family. What's the point that I'm making here? It doesn't matter, right? Social media is not your friend. Social media is not your enemy, okay? If you become content for these platforms, you will become content. You will be used as content, okay, including myself, because this is how we extract some of the best relationship lessons that we can push out. It's just a reality, okay? That's just how it works. Okay. Number two, if somebody decides to drag you into the social media, a family member, a person close to you, they're telling lies from your perspective about you, relax. Okay? If you react, you will make things worse. Okay? You're only going to make things worse if you react to it. Relax. Doesn't mean you can't respond at some point, but I'm telling you, if you relax, there's a good chance you might not need to respond at all. People will forget, they'll move on too, right? And there's more than enough people that will be foolish enough to keep giving us stories, okay? More than enough. It doesn't have to be you, okay? You're put in a position where you're frustrated, you have to come out and cry like this, right? Right? You see how I'm linking all of the stories together, right? You have to come out and cry like this in public.
I get BP. I get BP. Me and my children, they are the suffer. Me and my children, they are the suffer. This man gets to kill me.
All right. So there's nothing you say. We can't negate her story. She's telling her story, right? But it doesn't mean she don't go collect. I'm gonna collect water. Anyway, so just be careful about that. Be careful. Social media pretends as your friend. You know, you can press record, you can tell your story, and people will glue in there and they'll be like, oh girl, that's too bad. Oh no, this men are terrible. This woman, bruh, you will be dragged. So it's only a matter of time, okay? And everything will be used against you, even when you're right, okay?
You're right.
All right, what's the other lesson from this? You know, something started all of this, right? The obvious part, the elephant in the room I need to address with regards to this story is this young lady, much younger lady seems like it, to Mr. Ibu. I can't expect too much wisdom from her. Depending on her background, depending on how enlightened she is, based on what I'm looking at right now, there's not much wisdom I'm expecting from her. But Mr. Ibu as an elderly man, right? This picture does not look good. What you're looking at here.
Talk to me now. Talk to me right now. Now. Talk to me now. Choma.
Who is Choma now?
You hear that? Maybe one of them who is Choma. You hear that? Begging. You know who is Choma. Me and you make it bad. Me and you make it here. Now you haven't been. You got out. No problem.
All right. Since we don't understand what he's saying in detail, there's nothing like this. Is not, gentlemen. If you already find yourself where your voice is raised, you're raising your voice like this. That's a cue to leave. It doesn't have to be a permanent decision. Clearly, you're caught up in your emotions too. Okay? You see how he was grabbing our hands, right? You grab that hand too tight, and there's a little mark on our hands, red, a mark, right? Because that's gonna happen when you're trying to hold somebody like, hold on, like I'm trying to talk to you. When you do that, you grab those hands too tight, and there's a red mark. If this is a Yankee, you might end up in jail that night. Okay, you will end a woman that's this angry, right? A woman that's basically doesn't care about reputation, what she look like out on the streets, right? And crying like this in front of the house girl, wherever that girl right there, and like she's not thinking, even if she's the most educated person in the world, she's not thinking straight in that moment, right? You might be like, babe, like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Like, you hold that hands too tight, and there's a mark, right? If the neighbor calls the police on you, right, you might end up in jail. And you might end up on the streets of YouTube and Ola will tell you that you're full of shit because you're telling me half of the story, right? I might end up telling you that. Because you're like, this woman, I brought them from Africa and they did this to me. I'm like, bro. So this doesn't look good on Mr. Ibu. This is not about your right or your wrong. This has nothing to do with that. I am sure you're right. I am sure that you feel that you're accurately right about your story. It doesn't mean that you won't collect big time. The more you think you're right in this type of scenarios, the worse it's going to get for you. And then you say, but that's not fair. I know. Welcome to the real world. It's not about being fair. It's about, do you have game? Do you understand the principles of life and love? In love and war, all is fair. Everybody will collect. The issue is that we don't know. Nobody's measuring, especially the emotional aspect of things. Most people are stuck on what it looks like on the surface and their own filtered judgment of what's going on, right? But the truth is that we don't know how far is what. We don't know who has the biggest sin in all of this. You don't know, we don't know, right? So the only thing you can engage in all of this is humility and managing your expectations of what we call life or the human experience. That's the only thing you can do with this information that we have right now. All right. All right. A married man with 14 kids is sleeping in your... Okay, we already covered that deal. Social media only exacerbates things. It can never get better with social media. Yes, it gets worse. But it's okay that people tell their story. You see? You're enabling bad behavior. Okay, it's not bad behavior, but it's going to create bad outcome. Dare I say 100% of the time. Okay? Social media regurgitates the situation over and over. Different versions, millions of different versions of the same story. That's why I said there's multiple sides to that story. And if God helps you, right, and you end up in a situation where you are a rock star like Mr. Ibu, yeah, it makes it that tough. It makes it that much tougher or difficult. Makes it that much more tougher or more difficult to handle. When you're caught up in the emotion, meaning you're part of the character in the story, right? Then you're taking things personally. That means you have bias, default bias, right? Because you feel like you're right. Right? It gets even worse. Right? Showing messages. Yes, she was really revealing messages to the rest of the world. Let me read some parts of the story that she was revealing to Daddy Freeze, right? To Daddy Freeze and through Gist Lover. One side took Daddy Freeze, the other side took Gist Lover. And what did Gist Lover said eventually? Gist Lover said, I am out of this whole back and forth totally. I comot my hands. That means I wash my hands off. After I don't get interviewer, sent question to my interviewer and waited till this time, Mrs. Ibu, don't go carry another interviewer. She wanted her own interviewer. She went out and called her own interviewer. Why would she do that? Because she needed somebody that would ask her the right questions. Maybe. No. I want my own interviewer. That does not even have knowledge of waiting we won't ask. Abi, she dey fear say I go drill her. Of course, she want to tell her own side of the story because she truthfully believed that that's the truth. Like, I'm not going to hear and negate that she's just trying to lie. Any of them, I don't think they're trying to lie. They might be trying to lie, but I assume best case scenario. I always assume best case scenario, right? Why? Because I want to make sure that if it's the worst case scenario, they use their own mouth to tell me. They use their own actions to tell me, not my preconceived notions, right? I try to do that. I'm human like the rest of you, okay? Naturally, I'm going to incline in the direction that I'm right too, okay? All right, LOL, it is well. At this point, I come up my hand and leg, but I want you all to know that this Jasmine girl, right, is not saying the truth. none of them is saying the absolute truth. They're all telling their own version of the truth. Okay. She's not related to Ibu either. She says she's adopted girlfriend or daughter, whatever that is. The two sons also ganged up with Chioma, make them for sale Ibu property. They ganged up to try to sell Mr. Ibu's property. For those of you, my American friends that are listening to this, that are fantasizing about polygamy, this is what polygamy can become. Okay, you will create division in your own household, in your own family, just naturally. Okay, and a house divided against itself cannot stand. So if you don't have proper systems in place to mitigate that, if you're doing polygamy, you to self go collect. Let's keep going. The tools, there are a lot to be unraveled for this whole matter as a whole. Is not that much. Okay, the rest of it is their personal stories and it doesn't matter, right? But as Ibu wife don't talk say, I know fit Andrew am way them carry another blog, carry go another blog. I wash my hand. Also, so even Gist Lover gave up on this issue at some point. Okay, even Gist Lover gave up at some point. Anyway, we're at the top of the hour. Okay, I want to make sure I have enough time to cover the lessons that I want to, our core lessons that I want to drop here today. Okay. It's a common thing to find stepkids no liking their stepmother or vice, not liking exactly. Yep, I just covered that. It seems like we're thinking alike, Gome. We see this narrative all the time, regardless of the true nature of the situation. Exactly. Like, hey, you're right. Okay, I'm not taking that away from you, but can we dig a little deeper into the reality of this type of situations? Within a monogamous setting, we see same issues happen too. Exactly. Sometimes people just don't get along and settle later when the heat is down. So imagine if this is going to happen in any form of relationships, even between siblings of the same mother. How much more when you had extra complication? How much more when you say you want to go and marry across international boundaries, across culture, across religion, right? How much more when you say, let me put two women in the same household, right? Listen, you can do all of these things successfully, but if you're not aware that they will create, every single one of those boundaries that you're crossing will create complication that you need to create systems to mitigate those risks. If you're not aware, yeah, ignorance is not excuse. Okay, you go collect. Yeah, let me make sure I play sound effect for my people. Exactly, like that. Just Jay, I'm just trying to cover this real life stuff. That's all. Jolason Kemi need to know what language she speaks. Well, it's Yoruba that I speak, and there's like 200 different other languages in Nigeria. So you get my point in your explaining. Yes, I completely got your point. Absolutely. All right. So with that being said, that's really all I want to cover with regards to the Mr. Ibu story. It's not about we don't care about the details, who is right, who is wrong. I can tell you that Mr. Ibu is in deep Igbe. Okay. And it's not going to be as simple as let me go and be kissing my wife so that it can look good. In fact, that's a need to be right. That's shalaye. Shalaye need to be right will get you inside much more mud. Okay, it's going to work against you. He needs to go back inside and work with his family. Okay, he needs to find out what there's a lot going on there. Okay, it's involved his two children to be taking sides with him. That's a bad move. Okay, that's a bad move because at the end of the day, that's your wife. No, listen, it's not about the wife is wrong. If you think she's wrong, you're if you think she's wrong,
you're right.
But that's not enough. That's not enough. As a matter of fact, it's not relevant that she's wrong. That's your wife. You have your family indirectly, unconsciously subconsciously ganging up against each other, you go collect water.
Sure, one. Let me.
All right, so let me get into the next lesson, shall we? All right, welcome back. So, a little bit of masterclass. I need to bring you up to speed. I will reference this all the time, so take note of this, okay? And let everyone else that's not here, I think other people or some of our regulars are with NTV right now. That's fine. Let other people know while we're talking about this. The first time we're talking about 7 reasons to get married. Okay, this is happening. This is becoming a very, very popular question in my, because people. Here's what's happening. Okay. Not everyone has to be married. Not everyone has to be married. Not only that, not everyone needs to be married. Not just that, not everyone has the grace to be married. Not just that, okay? Not everyone is equipped with the necessary capabilities with, to be married, especially internal stuff, not necessarily aesthetics or anything on the surface or money, none of that nonsense. Okay, people get the poorest people in this world, they're getting married everywhere. Some of the ugliest people, based on any standards of beauty, are getting married everywhere. It has nothing to do. Oh yeah, but are you talking about it? What about the numbers? We're not talking about exception. No, shut your ass up with that exception to the rule talking point. We don't do that here, okay? We are all engaged in one relationship form or the other. There are many people that are getting married, and there are many people that won't get married, even though on the surface it looks like they have everything that it takes, looks wise, all of that. That's what we're dealing with, okay? So there are, I call it 7 reasons, right? But in reality, I don't want to give you 7 reasons, because 7 reasons sound like I'm selling you something, okay? I don't want to sell you marriage. If you think marriage is a scam,
You're right.
If you think that marriage is an outdated institution,
You're right.
You are a mumu man.
I didn't mean that part. I'm sorry, I didn't mean that part. No, I'm kidding, okay? It's more so that you're right. Whatever you think of marriage, you're right. But marriage is not a human being, okay? Marriage is not a human being at all. Marriage is an institution, okay? And there are principles that guides what makes it work. There are principles behind why most human beings want to be married. There are principles that if you're pushing hard against marriage, there's an extremely good chance that it's just not happening because of circumstantial reasons, whatever, and this is just a way to make you feel good. There's also still a chance that it's just not what you want. If that's the case, whatever it is, any of those things.
You're right.
But instead of talking about 7 reasons to get married, I think I have something better for you. Instead, I have 7 purposes of marriage as listed on the screen. I will reference this from time to time. All right. If you can replace any one of these values that you can get out of marriage with something else, if you've been able to replace it, particularly if you've been able to replace it, right? I want you to, clearly it's working for you. If anything is working for you, I want you to keep doing it. Okay, whatever is working for you, I want you to keep doing it. I want to congratulate you. Whatever it is that's working for you, and you want to, and you say, hey, for screw all that marriage stuff. Is this working for you? I want you to keep doing it. But for those of you that are on the fence and you've heard all the talking points and something is still rubbing off your mind wrongly and you're like, but yeah, I'm on the fence. I think I want to be married. I'm not sure if I want to be married. I'm just going to give you 7 purposes of marriage. If you can replace the value, these values, okay? Purpose is much more powerful than reason. The reason is like we're trying to tell you. Purpose is something that you have to engage and internalize and feel very strong about, right? If you can replace any one of this with other types of institutions, tools, lifestyle, you don't need marriage. You don't need it. I'm being honest with you. I mean that. I promise you, I'm not being sarcastic. I'm not being condescending. I mean it with my full chest. This is truly what I personally believe. And this is also at the same time a professional opinion. Still an opinion. Okay? But a professional opinion. I've assessed thousands upon thousands of cases, right? My personal story, yes, my filter is still involved, right? For me to come up with this, okay? But this aligns with it. There are few other reasons out there. I call them reasons. But in terms of purpose, this is where we are right now in the 21st century in terms of marriage. If marriage is still able to provide these things, if the marriage you're able to create is able to provide these things, then clearly it's not outdated. Okay? If it's not able to provide these things for you, then maybe it is in fact outdated. Number 1, romance. Romance. As in like butterflies, as in feelings, as in you're happy with the idea of being with this person, as in like you do kerewa sex with this person and you're having a good time doing it at whatever stage you are, 1st year, 2nd year, 5th year, 7th year, 10th year. This is a big deal, but more importantly, this is a contained, safe form of romance, right? Can you get romance outside of marriage? Yes. Again, if you can find other ways of getting these things, hey, and if it's working for you, you do you, right? But this is just a purpose of marriage, the safest form of romance, okay? There's disease everywhere. And there's population growth, right? Everywhere, right? So the disease spreading is exponential in nature, right? Could you protect yourself? Are there means and measures to protect yourself in spite of that without being in marriage? Yes. Number 2, companionship. Companionship is actually greater than romance because depending on individuals to individuals, at some point what you may consider romance will evaporate because everything in life literally gets old. Everything. So I don't know if it's at 55 for you. I don't know if it's going to happen for you at 75. I don't know if you are still going to be hanging off of a ceiling doing career at 95. Everyone is different. Okay? But companionship will last the life of that marriage if it's a healthy marriage. We're talking about healthy marriage here, right? Okay? If it's a bad marriage, cancel this video. Delete that shit. Delete. Okay? If it's a toxic marriage, which a lot of them exist. A lot of them are out there. Okay? Number 3, family and legacy. They'll be your mate. Okay? The family you created. The family you partner with another person to create. Listen, you're a part of a family. You were born into a family, right? You were raised by a family already, right? But we're talking about legacy, inclusive here right now. Legacy, personal, that you created, right? Legacy transcends beyond your own lifetime. This is basically a mark in this world that you were here long after you're long gone, right? Listen, legacy is something quite emotional to a large extent, right? But emotions are real, right? Family and legacy, right? Yeah, but it doesn't have to be biological before you create family. You're right, but I'm talking to people that value it, particularly from a standpoint of they created it. It gives them a sense of significance. Family and legacy. Number 4, multiplying and nation building. Let me correct that. Not nation build, nation building. Okay. Multiplying and nation building. All right. Multiplying and nation building. Why should you care about this? See, I call cap on people that talk about community all the time. I call cap. Most of them are full of it. Really, what they're trying to say is their own personal romantic benefits. But of course, the cap, But listen, nation building is part of power. What do we talk about here? We talk about power as well here, right? It's part of power, especially as a group of people. The second thing we talk about here is power, right? And I don't know if you want to call it sadly or gladly or happily or fortunately or unfortunately. For example, black people. If you don't understand how to use that population, it's almost useless. I mean, if you think about the population of people in Africa on ground, continental Africa, we clearly are struggling with understanding power, right? But for those of us in the United States, we see that there's a big struggle when our population is not what it's supposed to be, or where people are misusing or abusing the A word, right? The baby deleting opportunity, as you call it, right? Some people are misusing it because also they're not well. Anyway, as a person, this is an opportunity to do it in the right way, so you don't have to be personally engaged in the debate, political debate around the court of law, or the baby deleting arguments out there. That's another purpose of marriage. You can do it in the most healthiest way. There's stats and data all over the place that says this is the best way to multiply and build nations, both literally and hyperbolically. Is that the word? Excuse me. Just let me keep moving. Number 5. Before I go to number 5, this is very important. This is going to be a standalone lesson on this platform. Let's see. I heard someone once say that marriage is a scam, and I laughed so much. Hey, people have personal reasons why they are engaging that rhetoric. And I feel more sorry for them because this society is not set up that way, unfortunately, 7 reasons to get married. Money. I ate hot amala. That is sweetening my stomach and making me giddy. I could tell, D-Love, I could tell. People seem to make up the most ridiculous reasons. They all seem to be based on fear. Yes, they do. And that's why number 1 on this list is romance. I need everyone to stop capping about that. That none of you modern people will engage in marriage if it doesn't have romance in it. Like literally none of you. Oh yeah, that's why RNG marriage work better. What are you talking about? Are you in 1957? What are you talking about? Anyway, let's keep moving. Seem to make up the most ridiculous reason. They all seem to be based on fear. Yeah, you will die alone. Like, that's a terrible reason to get married. Fear of dying alone is a terrible reason to get married. Okay? You go collect. Listen, it's not just off of what you want. There's another human being that will be involved. Okay? That's not good enough. Not good enough. Yes, K-re-wa. Exactly. Companionship is beautiful. It will last. If you do this right, it will literally last the life of the relationship. And you can't put a price on that. You can't put a price on, hopefully not, but it happens. You're in a wheelchair, your partner is pushing you at your last days in your 90s to the hospital to go receive some tender loving care at the clinic. You can't put a price on that, right? Not only disease, the spiritual aspect is paramount too. All of disease is spiritual. Everything about us is spiritual. That your statement is separating it. That we're spiritual beings. Okay, we don't want to put spirituality on pedestal like most Nigerians. Okay, but she now said I meant spiritual growth to get a better picture. Thank you. Now that's more of my language. What's here? Thank you so much. Anyway, number 5, legal life hack in every sense. Hack. Speaking of growth, the only legal life hack. Okay, leverage. For those people that don't like the language leverage, yes, leverage. Okay, leverage in the real sense of it, not stupid dictionary meanings. Okay, dictionary meanings fall on its face all the time. Okay, how do I know? Because I can see all the arguments on the internet. Okay, leverage simply means you're able to create more out of less. Okay, you're able to achieve more out of what you would consider typically less than, right? 2 people typically means 2 people. But when you start thinking nation building, when you start thinking power, when you start thinking the next number 6 here, the level of what you're able to achieve with this is exponential. It's exponential. You can't put numbers on this. Numbers fall on its face all the time. Squashed up, bruised up. How do I know? Because I can see your face when you're arguing on the internet. You're getting angry, like you can't, and the other person is saying, no, you're wrong. And you're like, no, I'm right. And then and it's not working out for you, clearly. It's not working out because they're not receiving what you're saying. Failure, particularly on your part. No. That's on them. That they didn't know. They didn't receive what you're saying because you're not communicating. No, but I'm a great communicator. I was told that my IQ is up there. Nah, bro. They're not receiving what you're saying. It's the person that decides that is the person, not the person. No person decides that. What decides that is the result you are creating. The result you are creating says you're not communicating. They are not receiving what you are saying. So numbers, right, fall on its face all the time. And when you start to speak exponential numbers, maybe you will start to comprehend the magnitude of what we're talking about, small. Even at that, your comprehension level, right? Your righteousness, right? Your capabilities, right? This is why one of the major keys to life, regardless of how much you think you know, is humility. Active listening. Let's assume you don't know shit. Anyway, legal life hack. Okay? If you do this the right way, there's nothing that compares to it. Especially when we talk about number 6. Number 6, significance and recognition. You don't decide the rules, the societal systems, social constructs decide the rules. Listen, I know it's sad that a single person at the age of 43 cannot even enter party. They're typically not invited to any party because they don't have a person that they're engaged to. The invitation says, I'm sorry, if you're not engaged and you're not married, you're not allowed. You can come because we know you, but you're not allowed to bring a plus one. I know. I can't imagine how I think I personally don't do that when it comes to my invitation. I don't think it's nice. But that's my personal opinion. Some other people feel like, well, it is what it is. I'm paying per head. So, we don't know this person that you're bringing plus one. But it could be that person might be getting ready to give me a ring or buy a ring or something, or vice versa. I'm getting ready to buy a ring. Well, you're not engaged. We don't know this person. Would you go and buy a ring, gentlemen, because you need to enter a party? But do you think that's going to negate your answer, whatever the answer is? Negate how you feel if you feel like you can't bring your girlfriend to a party, right? I know it's sad, but let me tell you something. The society we live in, like, it doesn't matter if it's Western or in Nigeria, is worse. You can't even enter a club if you're not with somebody. As a woman, I know it's terrible. Like I said, if you can find other ways to replace this value, significance and recognition, we all value significance and recognition. When it crosses that line into seeking validation, the same thing, when it crosses, a terrible place to be, all right? You don't want to be that person that's seeking validation on the outside, but it's real. This feelings of wanting to feel significant is real to every single one of us. Can we all stop the cap for a second? Is that possible? Can we be honest with ourselves? Can we be honest with ourselves?
Stop the cap.
Can we be honest? Can we tell ourselves the honesty, right? But if you can replace this value, let me tell you something. Oprah Winfrey is not married. She can enter anywhere. She's found a way of, she's significant in society regardless. She can enter anything. If you found other ways of replacing whatever this value is, whatever it means to you, please, by all means. I'm just telling you that this is a real purpose because it's something that we value, right? Number 7, personal growth. Personal growth. Okay? Oh yeah, but I went single so I want to stay single so I can make sure I find myself first. And listen, if you're coming out of a toxic relationship, you're right. You should do that. You need to learn how to be single and learn how to value being single and learn that there's blessing in being single. But if we're using this to justify not meeting people, not doing the right thing, putting yourself in strategic positions to meet people, if you're a woman or man of certain age, you will collect. How you feel today is not how you're going to feel 10 years from now. Big time. Your personal growth, your greatest personal growth is inside of relationships, particularly in those moments that you are being tested by the person that you love the most. Particularly in those moments. That's the honest truth. I can't deceive. Listen, that's the truth. Like the idea of reading everything. Listen, I wrote a book along with my wife too. The idea that you're going to collect all the growth you need from inside a book. Experience is the greatest source of wisdom, of all the personal growth, including spiritual growth, of course. You need to be in the game. There's only so much you can learn on the sides of the court. You have to be in the game. You have to fall sometimes. You have to be able to get up. This is how you learn the game in the greatest way. I'm not saying don't read books. Obviously, I encourage books because I write books. But I'm telling you that you have unrealistic expectations of written down text and all this other kind of stuff. You have unrealistic expectations of anything outside of experience. You will be tested. The test It's not a bad thing. This is how you grow. Okay? And inside of marriage, yes, it will happen. No matter how perfect your marriage is. I don't know if that exists somewhere. Right? No matter how perfect it is, right? You will be tested. You will have moments that you question the day you met this person. You have moments that you felt like you married the wrong person. You have moments that you felt like we're not compatible. You know, all the fancy stuff, the fancy terminologies that you learn from the textbooks. They will all collect water when it comes to when it comes to real life marriage. But on the other side of it, when you figure things out, okay, it's some of the greatest, best experience that you will have when it comes to life and the human experience. All right? I promise I'm not trying to sell you marriage, but if you're on the fence and you're already sold on marriage, there's a 7 things you can look at and you say, well, no, let me just jump into marriage. Let me make sure I do it the right way. Particularly, let me make sure I do it the right way. Let me not jump outside of my marriage because I feel terrible right now. Because I feel let me engage someone to help me figure out how this thing works. Because this is the greatest life hack. It does. Listen, financially, especially if you live in the Western world, there's no match to it. Okay? There's no match to it. Let me learn how to do it. Before I enter it, let me learn how to do it the right way. Right? If I'm already inside of it and it's not anything that threatens my life, let me learn how to do this the right way. Because another leverage point is to build on something you already know. You build on top of it, right? Anyway. That's a core thing that we're going to pull up from time to time. And I have another one, and then we can round up in about 30 minutes. I have another one that we want to cover, rather than 30 minutes or less. I'll be right back. All right, welcome back. Gomez says, Hola, I don't read books surprisingly. I spend time with the ages across the demographics, especially the elderly. That's how I learn through human interaction. Yes, experience. Absolutely. The closest thing to experience is maybe mentorship, coaching, but even it's like light years distance, right? But also face-to-face interactions, right? What did I say? Agreed, Ola. Personal growth occurs as you experience life along your years. Yeah, that's why when people say age doesn't matter, please don't say that. Okay, I know, like in a lot of circumstances in life, age doesn't matter. But I know where that statement is coming from. It's coming from a very, very bad, arrogant place. That's not good. You collect saying things like that to yourself. But this is only for those who are self-aware. Yes. Let's see. Nothing beats face-to-face communication than via texts, emails. Emotions are felt and understood when you see the person face-to-face. Yes, and they are tested, meaning it's just the worst emotions you're going to feel will come from this sometimes. Okay. Yep. All right. Awesome. Let's get into this one right here. These tools that we're about to mention, I've said this in many of my talking points. Yes, I do have talking points. Yes. These tools can create these tools don't create lasting, healthy, sustainable, and quality change in relationships, and especially marriage. All right. People tend to gravitate in this direction when they don't have better answers, when they don't have patience, right? When they are collecting woto from the reality of learning how relationships work. Just think about it. When people don't know, they gravitate towards these things. Let me see how many of them I have. I have about 10 of them. Okay. I think I'm going to fly through it. But I want you to write this down if you can. But I will reference it from time to time in our sessions. Obviously, we drive traffic on this platform because we cover trendy topics. Okay. But I will reference these things from time to time. Okay. Because I want you to be able to walk away from Men of Prestige and say, you know what? There's more to learn. I don't want you to say I learn everything. I want you to say, I don't know shit. And there's more I need to learn, right? Because every time I finish these shows, I feel exactly like that. Even though I am the anchor and the host here of Men of Prestige. Every time I finish a show, I've learned another thing. Like, wow, there's more to this, right? So I will reference this from time to time. I might end up, I think we will put it in the book, Love and Prestige. Any of this stuff, we'll get them in the book. Love and Prestige that wife and I were working on. These are relationship poisons. They're on your screen right now. Look at them closely. I need to explain them. I need to break them down. These things are relationship poisons. On the surface, some of them, they look like good things. They look like a good thing. Like it's a good thing. Like, no, we need to do this. We need to... Listen, that's your lack of patience. That's exactly what got you here in the first place, right? None of this stuff that we're talking about when it comes to romantic relationships, especially, none of this stuff is going to help. On the surface, they look like they will help because I bet you're thinking accountability, right? But you're thinking accountability only in short term. You're not thinking a long term. Because what did this say is these tools, they don't create lasting, healthy, sustainable, and quality change in relationships, and especially marriage. You will understand what I'm talking about more if you've gone through a crisis and you know what it feels like on the other side, or you've tried to use any of these tools and you know that it's not helping. It might make you feel better, right? In the moment, you check them. Check them. You know, hold them accountable, right? That's your feelings. These are the issues. That's your feelings barking. And you know what they say about hit dogs? It's not helping. You know what they say about empty barrels? They make the loudest noise. This is not helping. Because you speak this anger that's coming out of your rhetoric. It's not just how you talk. No, this is you. This is something is happening. Something is happening. Number one, shame. On the surface, it looks like shame is like something that we feel when we just know we did something wrong. But the problem with that is that we're stuck on wrong. Let me jump to number 10 really quickly. Right and wrong obsessed. I'll come back to it. Let's go back to number 1. Shame. The only thing that shame does is spell out what most people already know. What's right and wrong. Oh, you think the person that's doing the wrong thing didn't know they were doing something wrong, right? You think you're the first one telling them that whatever you're saying is wrong. Listen, at the very minimum, they know someone thinks it's wrong, even if they are justifying themselves that is right, because they will. If they're doing it, trust me, they've justified that is right, right? But you think you're the first that would tell them that they're wrong, right? But really what you're doing is making them stronger in the midst of that funk of quote unquote wrong. Because, by the way, you're right that whatever it is that they're doing is wrong, right? But you're making them...
You're right.
You're just making them feel stronger. It's like beating a child over and over and over. Eventually, some children is going to create the opposite effect of what you're looking for. Meaning, they just dust the stuff like this, brush their shoulder off. Has no effect on them. Shame is poison. Because if they care at all, they will resent you. That's if they care at all. If they care about engaging you at all, they will just resent you. Number 2, insult. Similar. Let me insult them. Oh no, you're not saying you're insulting them. You're just using some colorful words to make them aware of how they're doing wrong. Another major problem is that you're not taking the time. You have disrespect for patience and process. The only thing, there's 2 things. Those are the 2 things that create some of the things we value the most in life. Patience and understanding that every good thing in life comes out of process, right? You're like, no, I need to get an answer right now. I need them to feel. No, you don't call it feeling. I know them to know that what they're doing is wrong right now. You do this in romantic relationships. They will, if they care at all, they will only resent you. If they don't care, they'll give you a middle finger. Okay? The only effect you're going to get out of it that may seem positive is short term. You will feel good about yourself because you called out the bullshit. Call it out. Right? Call it out. You'll feel good about yourself. But in terms of lasting change, you want that person to change for better, and you want it to be sustainable, not just some temporary quick results you get. Maybe they're scared of you, so they kind of backed out from whatever that bad behavior is quickly, right? That's all you're going to get. That's the best you're going to get out of it. Number 3, blame. Similar. Blame. Faults. You can replace that with faults, right? Let me see if I can add faults into that. Let's see if we have some space there. No, we can't. But just at the back of your mind. You know what? I can hide it. Let me hide it. Because again, we're going to reference this all the time. So I want to make sure that blame. Why? You need to make somebody know that it's their fault. It has to be somebody's fault for you. Yeah, but Ola, well, accountability though is very important. It's stuff like that. Listen, your obsession with fault is going to push accountability further and further away. Of course, accountability is very important, but the whole point of accountability is that they're able to see that, yes, like that's for you to, you remember lasting change, sustainable change, right? I think it's a healthy thing to have accountability in relationships, but I think it's much more healthier when they actually want to hold themselves accountable. They want part of it, right? But you're just going to force them into it. You need to, like, it's a lot of this stuff. Some of this stuff might be useful in certain times, but your obsession with these things is particularly what I'm talking about. Number 4, judgment. Judgment is just terrible. If you're a Christian, you know that from Matthew 7:7. Okay, because you're going to need grace sometimes. You will need grace sometimes. And when you're coming from a place of judgment, right? You're not assessing issues. Okay, all of this stuff are same. They're kind of like the same things, by the way. A lot of them, it's kind of like the same things. You're not patient. You're like, no, I have to tell somebody they're wrong. It doesn't matter if I create lasting change, sustainable change. I just need to feel right that they're wrong, right? They poison relationships because you're going to need grace sometimes, but when you're on the receiving end of needing grace, you tend not to remember that you were quite judgmental. When you're judgmental, sometimes, most of the times, you're actually right? But it's also you projecting your expectations of how you think on the other person. And the reality is that the other person is different from you, right? This is where compatibility falls in the poto, right? The other person is a different human being altogether. And your own judgment, sense of judgment, is clouded by your personality, your temperament, the way you think, the way you were raised, your culture. It's clouded by all of those things. So it creates unrealistic expectations. And what do we say here all the time about unrealistic expectations? They destroy relationships. But we should have expectations. I know, but I'm talking about unrealistic, meaning it's not reality. You're not going to get what you're expecting. It's just not reality. The idea of whatever it is that you're talking about is just not the reality. You're not going to get it. So what's that going to make you do? You're going to resent. What is resentment going to do in relationship? Create more toxin, even when you're right. Okay? Especially romantic relationships, because there's no paycheck on Friday. If there was a paycheck, you can use the paycheck to manipulate them to do what you want, right? And that's fair. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about romantic relationships, because that's really what you're talking about. Listen, majority of you're doing well at your job. In fact, you're the best employee at your job. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about romantic relationships. Like, how long are we going to keep capping about this? Right? Number 6, guilt is basically self-blame, self-fault. That will work against you too. I'm not asking you to be quick to call it like it's my fault. No, that's terrible. Don't do that. It's not about fault. You don't need to make it about fault. There is a system, there's a dynamic system in that relationship, and it's being created because of the dynamics between you and that person. Right? It's deeper than right and wrong. Because, by the way, you are right, right? Maybe you're right, but you're creating terrible results. Oh, it's only them that's creating results. No. It's not just them that's creating the terrible results. You're both creating the results. It doesn't mean it's your fault. Remember, you just went to fault. It's not about faults, okay? It's about self-reflection. I contributed to this, not necessarily physically, or with my mouth, verbally. My energy, my spiritual energy has helped create the dynamics here. I have attracted something here, right? There's something, there's something about you that think it's okay for the other person to treat you this way. It's not necessarily your fault, but you need to be aware of what that is. If you say there's nothing, there is still something, and you're basically making yourself unaware of the realities that is still present, and you will still collect with that mindset, unfortunately. All right. That's number 6, guilt. Gomez says, when we become invested in our self-awareness, we'll listen more and are less judgmental. Yes. Self-control is vital to deal with these poisons you have written, Ola. I know. And it will be tested. Sometimes you just fall on your face, but it's not all the way a bad thing. Forgive yourself as fast as humanly possible so you can learn, what did I miss? That's why guilt is on that list. Self-guilt is a poison. Self-guilt is not the same thing as accountability. Being accountable means you go a little bit closer to being objective and say, what am I going to learn from that? Guilt means that, oh my life, oh my days, what did I do? Why did I do this? You're stuck in that.
Oh my days,
you're stuck in that emotion that you're not enough. It's okay to have moments where you're not enough, but you need to forgive yourself and know that you're always enough. Okay? Let's get back to it. Number 7, discrete logic, as in like 1 and 0. It's a poison. It's poisonous. to relationships, especially with the way most people with all the talking points are handling it. Okay, logic. You're not logical if you're discounting emotions. You're not a logical person if you're not able to listen to emotions, starting with yourself first. Okay? Start with yourself first. If you're not able to listen to emotions, your own personal emotions first. Because if you're not going to say, hey, I'm an emotional human being too, you're not capable of listening to other people's emotions. And then also the social construct, the fact that this is a society, right? So discrete logic, no, I don't care your feelings, it's either you're right or you're wrong. The way I see this world, I just tell you straight as it is. You're lame. You're lame. You're just a lame person. It's okay. What I mean is lack of game, okay? You don't understand how life works. You need to stay in school, not the regular school. You need to start talking to some more elders. Start talking to some people that have some experience, okay? There's nuances to everything in life, including even the 1 and 0 that's written in your face and the black and white. And when you apply that mindset, like, oh, I don't care about your feelings, you're responsible. If you apply that to relationships of any type, even money relationships, even the stock market, you will lose all your money. I guarantee it. Because everything we care about in life is driven by emotions. Discrete logic is poisonous for romantic relationships. But you were wrong. Oh, there you go. Is that working for you? By the way, keep doing it. Okay? If it's working for you. But from what I've seen, thousands upon thousands of cases, it's poison for relationships. Calm down. Humble yourself. You don't know shit. Okay? Number 8, sarcasm. A little sarcasm, banter, jokey. We're just joking around. It's not that deep. That's not what I'm talking about. But if you are having a conversation that clearly another person is not feeling good about the situation, feelings, keyword, sarcasm will poison your relationship. That's all I'm going to say about that. Okay? The same thing is true about condescension. What is sarcasm? Somebody say, what is sarcasm? Do you want me to help with the stuff you were doing in the room earlier? No, don't help me. Really, what you're trying to say is yes, help me. But you decided to add some colorful emotions to it. Right? You decided to be a little offensive not because you mean to, but because you were caught up in your emotions too. You have your own reasons, emotional. You're caught up somewhere. You were offended too, right? But you decided to add a little bit of colorful emotion. No. Like, why am I sucking my teeth, right? That's poison for your relationship. Okay? If you're able to stop doing things like that, that also means that you're working on yourself and you're able to say, I am caught up in my emotions. Babe, I'm not feeling good. I'm a little sad. This is why, right? You're able, trust me, lots of work goes into that because we're all emotional beings. We're caught up in our emotions sometimes, right? But if you say, no, F that, that's how I felt, I'm just going to be blunt. Well, it's poisonous, okay? Condescension is very similar, but condescension is like things like, you won't help me with that thing again now, right now. Listen, I understand the little joke, we're human beings, right? But be careful, okay? Be careful with those type of rhetorics. So you're not going to do this for me, right? Like, listen, trust me. Don't do that, okay? Say, hey, babe, I need you to help me with that thing. Can you please? Yes, regardless of how many times you have to say. I know it's frustrating sometimes, but this is me asking you to engage intentional kindness. Don't assume that you are a kind person because you think you're a good person. Sometimes your mouth, even as a man, is a lethal weapon. It's poisoning your relationships. I'm being honest with you. Okay? And what makes it even worse is that it comes from a blind spot. You're not able to see it like that sometimes. You're not able to, you don't know what you don't know, right? You're trying to you're trying to feel right. Nobody gives a shit about anything outside of their feelings. Every single one of us. What I'm sharing with you and what I'm sharing with you right now, I feel good sharing it with you. I'm not that much of a selfless person. I'm just human like you. But it gives me a sense of fulfillment to be able to share this with you. It's a feeling. Don't put yourself on that pedestal. Add a little of an intentional source to kindness. You know when it's the toughest to be kind? When see finish enter, when you start to take each other for granted. Now it becomes a subconscious thing to be rude, to be unruly to your partner, to the person that you care about the most, to the person that if they pull the plug today, it will dismantle and destroy your life, at least for a while. Sarcasm and condescension are extremely dangerous. Why? Because they are lethal. You don't really see, you don't notice that you're doing it because see finish day there. Now your guy be this person now, your wife now your guy, right? You don't see that you're doing like, oh, I didn't see that way, right? So matter of fact, if you've never been through this, you can't comprehend what I'm saying. Okay? Yeah. Shout out to Gomez for engaging this heavily. Yeah, when we become self-awareness, yes, we talked about that. Sarcasm is insulting joke to me, yes, right? There's a space you are where you can appreciate sarcasm, you laugh about it. That means the other person is receiving it as a joke, right? But when the other person is receiving it as insult, it's not your definition of what you're doing that matters, it's how the other person is receiving it. So if the other person is receiving your joke as insulting, yes, at that point, you should pay attention. Sarcasm is insultive joke to me, yes. D-Love says, I've never understood that humor of sarcasm. That's because they are being sarcastic. Sarcasm is a real thing, but you're receiving it as an insult. At the back of their mind, they might just not realize how poisonous it is, right? But that's why I'm talking about it right now. Okay? Because again, a lot of these things it's not people who deliberately try to be evil to you, but they are creating evil outcomes. Yeah? Last but not least. People wonder why I play this.
You're right.
Right and wrong obsession. Right and wrong obsessed. Right? Why do people engage in toxic arguments? Right? Why do people continue to nurse it in their mind that arguments are okay? Right? It's a need to be right. It's poisonous. It's obsession with being right. Right? Particularly from a feeling standpoint. Feelings. Because actually, for all we know, everything I just said in this video could be wrong. I feel like it's right. Maybe somebody's going to make a case, make an argument for how it's all completely wrong. Maybe it's actually wrong. All I know is what I know, right? I can't know what I don't know because I don't know it. Everything I've told you so far in this session is a function of how I was raised, my education level, my personality, what I personally appreciate. It's personal to a large extent still. It's not, don't take it personal. It's because everything is personal. Stop the cap. Stop cap. Everything is personal. Everything. Stop it. If it's not personal, you wouldn't care. You wouldn't care. Everything is personal. But I know what you mean when you say it's personal, it's not business. I know what you mean. Okay. But right and wrong, if what you're looking for is who is wrong and who is right, you are probably lame. What I mean is that you lack game. You probably lack wisdom. It's probably a very high chance it's not your fault. Maybe you just don't have enough experience. Maybe you're just young. Maybe you've never experienced pain. You've never offended anybody else in your life. You're just always perfect. You're righteous. You know so much books. But I can Google definitions and there's nothing I don't know. Right? All right. We all don't know anything. All of us. Okay. That's why you must, as much as possible. Listen, I know what's right. Remember we did a session here yesterday where we clearly said it's wrong for a person to go and sleep with their boss so they can get their husband a job. That's wrong. But what else? What else? What else can we learn from that? Okay? Anyway. Like I said, we have something going on here today. I'm going to keep it out here. I wanted to make sure that if I'm going to break the rules and come today, I bring something solid. We will chop this out, into separate lessons. But this is some of our core lessons. Excuse me. All right. So we're going to call it a day here. Okay. So I can release you to go and join NTB. Those of you that are with NTB. But I know some of you are coming back to watch this lesson later on. Do me a favor. Share this. Share. Marriages are breaking apart everywhere because people don't know this stuff. They are obsessed with who is right and who is wrong. They're using their own hands to poison their relationships. Okay? Listen, if you're obsessed with right or wrong, you won't stop until you end up in the courts. All the men here that live in the Western world, you know what's going to happen when you end up in the court, right? Hey. Yeah. Yep. You will end up in McDonald's. Is it fair? Well, listen. It's matters of the heart. There's only so much the systems can help you. If you can't figure it out before you get there, they will help you make it about right and wrong. And that means you will collect regardless of what side you're on. Okay? In fact, ladies, you might win all of the custody, win all the alimony you want, all that kind of stuff. Guess who's going to collect the most? The children, sadly. The children. But that's all I have for you today. Hopefully you've been enlightened, educated. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.